Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Mindy Eggen and today's video is just going to go over the limited edition Halloween card kit from Simon Says Stamp. If you've never purchased one of these before, I'm going to show you exactly what I got in mine, starting with these 2 bottles of Mica stains. You also get a sucker, which I saved for later. And now I'm going to walk through the rest of the contents of the kit. Now, these are always super jam-packed with products. You can create anything from tags, gift bag, gift boxes, cards, scrapbook layouts, so much included in the kit. So I'm going to walk through it, but there's also an entire list of supplies over on my blog of what's included in the kit, so you can take a look at that as well. You're getting a few products from Tim Holtz. There are these buttons. There was some of that different sort of ribbon. There is a large 6x8 Halloween stamp set. There is an embossing folder. This one I do use in one of my cards. It creates these pumpkins in the backgrounds. We have some gift bags, so great for sending someone treats. There's also a variety of stickers included in here. Foam squares. You're getting this super cool witch's hat die, so it layers up together. You can create dimension with this die for the witch's hat. And then there is this paper pack. Now, I really got a kick out of this paper pack because I don't know, some reason it just really reminded me of Halloween in the 80s. Like that ghost there was totally screaming Scooby-Doo. So I really had a lot of fun looking at this paper. The cats is really fun. The spider webs is great for backgrounds. I do use a couple sheets of these in one of my card projects. Now, as I'm kind of walking through the variety of products you're getting in the kit, I am going to be creating 2 backgrounds using the stencil that I'll show you in a minute, and also the embossing folder and mica stains. So I don't completely finish the card on screen. There's been a lot going on right now at my house with adjusting to a new school for my son. So I didn't get a chance to finish the cards on screen, but I will create the backgrounds to show you what I did there. And then I'm going to have pictures of my cards at the end of the video, and they are also posted over on my blog. So there was a look at the 4-piece layering stencil, and then we're also going to grab the cardstock in here. Now, I just put my stencil inside of these. I think they're 6 3/4 inches square stencil storage pockets from Simon Says Stamp. I love them. I put my stencils in them, and they keep them perfectly safe. So, of course, the first thing I'm grabbing is the stencil. I am drawn to the stencil every single time, and I'm going to be using Grapefruit and Mandarin to do my ink blending. So this is the first layer of the stencil, which is using or creating the pumpkins and then a piece of that candy corn that's in the background. I started with the lightest color using a flat blending brush, covered the entire thing. But then what I like to do to step up those stencils and that background is take a small blending brush and that darker color, I think this was the Mandarin, and just lightly add some of that ink blending to the bottom of each of the pumpkins. I didn't worry about it so much on the candy corn pieces because they were pretty tiny, but it really does help on the pumpkins to kind of add some dimension to that. So here's a look at what that first layer is looking like so far. Then I'm going to move on to the second layer. This is going to add the white tips of the candy corn. And I struggle sometimes with this because, how do you create white on a white background? And I went with a very, very light gray. This is flannel from Simon Says Stamp. I thought at first it might be a little bit too dark. I tried to go as light-handed as possible, and you're going to see that as I lift the stencil, it really did work. I mean, it's gray, obviously, on white cardstock, but it does give it that dimension and definition. I'll move on to the third layer, which is going to add the green tops to the pumpkins. And this one I'm using Fairway, I believe it was. This one I'm not adding dimension to. I'm just going to lightly ink blend over that with my blending brush. They were pretty small, so there wasn't a lot I could do as far as adding a second color. And then we have our last layer of the stencil, and I am going to use Sunbeam Ink for this one. This is just adding that last color onto our candy corn. Once again, light-handed, just going over that with my brush, not bringing in a second color because with those smaller areas, it's just a little bit too hard and too tedious. But it creates a fabulous Halloween background. Now I'm going to move on to creating a background using the Distress mica stains that were included in the kit. Now these, you want to make sure you shake them up really, really well, because if you look on the bottom of those bottles, you'll see that the mica kind of settles. So you want to make sure to shake those up. I have watercolor cardstock that I placed in a splat box and just spraying across with the 2 different colors. It's so vibrant, so sparkly and pretty, really a lot of fun to play with the stains. Doesn't have to be overloaded or anything with color, just a couple quick swipes. I went ahead and dried that with my heat tool, and then I'm using that pumpkin embossing folder with this background. And that leaves a ton of detail on our background. Really fun, but make sure to clean your embossing folder when you're done. I noticed mine had some of that mica stain on there, so be sure to clean it with a baby wipe. For my finished projects, this is the card I created using that background stencil. So I trimmed it down. I added a strip of that striped paper as kind of a border. That is from that paper pack, and then stamped the Happy Halloween in black ink, and that is off that 6x8 stamp set. The next card is featuring that background I created with the mica stains. Now, it's a little harder to see the detail from the picture, but obviously from the video, there was a ton of detail, so it's always better in person. For the sentiment, this came off of that 6x8 stamp set that I heat embossed in white embossing powder on black cardstock and then fussy cut around so I could pop it up with foam squares. This next card is using the witch's hat die included in the kit, and all I did was layer that together and then used the pattern paper from that paper pack to create my card and background, and then just stamped a sentiment directly on top. Really love that witch's hat. And then this last card is just a 1-layer card, very easy. I did some yellow and bright green ink blending and then stamped this haunted house off of that stamp set in some intense black ink. Super kind of spooky, but yet very easy to do. So I hope this given you some ideas that you can use in your Halloween projects this year. There's obviously a ton more that you can do with this kit because it is so packed with products. All of the supplies are linked down below in the video description. Thanks so much for joining, and see you next time.